Hi everybody, welcome back to Bullet Sponge Brews. My name is Wilson, and today we are doing our first capsicumel. Now you might be wondering what a capsicumel is. A capsicumel is a mead that has hot peppers in it. The specific mead that we're doing today is actually going to be a pineapple jalapeno. I did do a lot of research on this because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't adding too many hot peppers into this. Initially, I was going to add like 7 or 8 and call it good. However, through further research, other people suggest that you use 1, maybe 2 hot peppers per gallon. And since we're only doing gallon batches, 2 jalapenos is what we have today. This is another one that I was interested in doing. It's from the list of 30 or 32 that I have. So I'm kind of going down the list and going down the line to do those. And we're going to get a few more of those knocked out before the end of the year. Now, what we have here today that's going to be going into our mead is we have 2 pounds of frozen pineapples. Now, in case I didn't explain in the last video, frozen is actually preferred because what that freezing does is it helps break down the cell walls, and that's going to allow the yeast to extract more sugar and more juices and give the meat a better flavor profile. So we're going to go with frozen fruit on this. We got 2 pounds of frozen pineapple. I have got a 12-ounce jar of pineapple juice concentrate. Obviously, I've got my yeast right here. They're already rehydrating. I've got 3 pounds of honey, same honey that I've used for the last 2 meads. It is pure raw honey from Brazilian fields. We've got wine tannin that we're going to be adding to it, yeast nutrient that I already have in the yeast, and the yeast that we are using today is Lalvin EC1118, the same one that we've used for the last 2. I bought quite a few of them. I'm going to use them up a little bit, and then we'll kind of go from there. Later on, once I get a little more experience with this, we will experiment with different kind of yeasts for different purposes, but for right now, I'm going to use what I got. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just get right into it. So everything here has been sanitized. Now, fermentation jars. A lot of people will recommend that you use buckets if you're doing any kind of fruit fermenting, like actual whole fruit. As we saw with the blueberry pomegranate, the amount of headspace that we got or had and the amount of leaves that we had in the bottom significantly reduced the amount of meat that we got. So we had to add more pomegranate juice. Just as I thought it would, the blueberry pomegranate actually started fermentation again. Not a big deal. But a lot of people suggest that you use buckets to do fruit fermentation because it's going to give you a little bit more leeway. It's going to allow you to put more stuff in there so you can get closer to that gallon mark. I am using the wide mouth 1 gallon jars because A, it's what I've got, but B, it also allows us to see inside. And since I am sharing this journey with you and vice versa, I want you guys to be able to see everything that's going on just as I would. So that's why I'm using these. If you guys decide you wanted to do this on your own or in your free time, it would be better if you got a bucket to do it. You're not going to be able to see as much stuff, but it is probably going to give you better results. Now, if you guys can see, I do have foam in here. That is from the No Rinse Sanitizer Star Sand that I am using. It foams up. It's perfectly fine. We don't have to rinse it out. We don't have to do anything like that. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to add our ingredients on top of this. So we're going to start with 3 pounds of honey. And once again, this is also going to be a fairly high gravity rating, much like the blueberry pomegranate was, just because of the amount of sugar that I am putting into this. I've got 3 pounds of honey. I've got pineapple juice. I've got whole pineapples. That's going to be all right. This is another one that I feel will be better off as a sweet mead, simply because we got that spice that's going to be coming in on the back end with the jalapenos. All right, I'm going to go ahead and taper that off. Now in here, I've just got a little less than a cup of hot water. I'm going to go ahead and add that into here. I'm going to shake this up and hopefully get a little more of that honey off of there. You don't have to do that, but I paid for the honey. I want my honey in there. So I'm just going to give this. That is leaking and is now all over my living room or my bedroom. Why are you leaking? Well, probably because you don't seal properly. Push down on the lid. Hard. That's still coming out. Screw it. Just going to go ahead and dump that honey water in there. All right. It's stupid and it works. It ain't stupid. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add... I'm actually going to add a little bit of water and the pineapple juice. Just so I can start mixing this up and getting stuff out of the way. Once again, you don't have to necessarily do this. It just makes it a little bit easier and actually will give you a more accurate gravity reading. Get all the juice off the side. Pour that in. Add a little bit of water. I'm going to put this about halfway. And now, break out the handy-dandy rubber spatula. I did upgrade from a whisk to a spatula because I got tired of crap being caught in it. And we're going to go ahead and just mix this up real quick. Now, with your 1 gallon carboys, the small top ones, it's a lot easier to just stick a bung in there and shake the holy hell out of it. I don't really want to do that with this because it's a big lid. It's got a little tiny hole. And if I don't get that hole covered perfectly, I am going to have this stuff everywhere. Kind of like I have honey water all over the place now that I've got to clean up. I guess I could just let my dogs lick it up. They'd be fine with that. But it's all over the floor. It's fine. Also, please excuse the dogs. They are playing upstairs, and that is my pit bull being loud. She might be angry at the beagle. The beagle likes to mess with her. And wouldn't you know it, when you put pineapple juice in something, it smells like pineapples. Now, from a little bit of research that I have done, it does look that capsaicin, the active ingredient in hot peppers, yeast actually do like that. It shouldn't negatively affect the yeast in any kind of way. But even if it does, we do have the 1118, which is an absolute powerhouse of a yeast. Also, this yeast is foaming up quite a bit, so hopefully it's just going to kickstart fermentation pretty much right away. Now, similar with the blueberry pomegranate, because I have fruit in this, instead of going straight into an airlock, I'm going to run a blow-off tube on this initially to hopefully be able to tame any kind of issues that I might have with the fermentation. We don't want a repeat of what happened with the blueberry pomegranate where I launched my airlock straight into my ceiling. I'm pretty sure there's still pomegranate juice up there. So we're going to be running a blow-off tube. I have my tubing, the cup that my wife got in the hospital when she gave birth to my daughter, or my son. And the cup is full of sanitizer. Like I did state before, you can use sanitizer or you can use a relatively low-grade alcohol. Make sure it is a drinking alcohol, not isopropyl alcohol or rubbing alcohol. You want to use a low-grade A because it's cheap, but B, so it doesn't impart any weird flavors into your meat in case there's any kind of back pressure. Now, also with mixing, what we are also doing is we are oxygenating it. We want to get some oxygen in there. Oxygen makes yeast happy, at least in the very beginning, and we don't have to worry about oxidizing in the very beginning stages of the mead making. It's in the later stages that we want to be more careful. But we definitely want oxygen. The yeast need oxygen. So we're going to just go ahead and splash this around a little bit. And I'm going to say that is probably good. Scrape along the bottom. Still got a little bit of honey down there. Ignore me. Now, once again, because I am putting fruit in here and we're going to have leaves, we're going to have probably a substantial amount of loss. So once we do rack this into secondary, I'm going to add more pomegranate juice, similar to what I did with the blueberry pomegranate. It's going to dilute it, yes, potentially restart fermentation, but I'm okay with that. I'm figuring this is probably going to be another relatively high ABV mead, simply because of the yeast that we're using and the amount of sugars that's actually in this. All right, and I think that should be good. What I'm going to go ahead and do now is I'm going to add the tannins just real quick before I forget about them. Once again, tannins kind of lend to the mouthfeel of it. Gives it a little more body, makes it so it's not like you're just drinking like a glass of water. If we wanted alcoholic water, we would buy White Claw, and I don't really like water to begin with, so I'm not drinking a White Claw. All right, going to go ahead and add our fruit. Please don't make a mess. One bag. On the right side, this is a lot easier to put in there than the blueberry pomegranate was. When I did the blueberry pomegranate, I spilled blueberries everywhere. All right, bag number 2. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add our yeast. And because I've got some yeast stuck to the side, I am going to go ahead and put a little more water in this, spill it on my towel, give it a little bit of a swirl, dump that in there as well. And then I'm just going to top it off with more water. Right to about there. Get the water top. And spatula, we're going to go ahead and mix this up a little bit more. Get it more homogeneous. Make sure that everything is copacetic. I don't know if it's because of the concentrate and the honey, but this feels very thick. I might have screwed up. I'm not 100% sure, but that's why we're here. We're here to fail, we're here to succeed, and we're here to learn from it all. I mean, it doesn't look too thick, it just feels thick. So maybe we're all right. We shall see. There's a lot of pineapples and pineapple juice in this. I could have just gone with water, but since this is a pineapple jalapeno, I really wanted it to be pineapple forward, which is why I went with the pineapple juice concentrate. It was also cheaper than just regular pineapple juice. And I am a bit cheap a lot of the time, so decided I wanted to go with the cheaper option instead of something that was already pre-mixed or diluted down to what it needed to be. Once again, we're here to fail, we're here to succeed, and we're here to learn from it all. So if this is a failure, it'll just show that I probably need to pay more attention to ingredients and measurements than what I have been. So, speaking of ingredients, I forgot to add the jalapenos. So like I said, I do have 2 sliced jalapenos right here. Get out. There we go. That would have defeated the purpose of a pineapple jalapeno mead had I not put the jalapenos in there. Now, I do plan on stepping up with capsicumels. We're going to start with a pineapple jalapeno. I do eventually want to go to a mango habanero, and then I have another one that I personally will not be drinking because I do not handle spice that well. But I've got a few friends who have volunteered to try it, so I'm pretty excited about that. You'll have to stay tuned if you want to see what that one is. All right, I have my recipe written down here. Really, the only thing left for us to do now is to take a gravity reading. So, I'm going to grab our graduated cylinder, grab our hydrometer, being very careful, slide it all the way to the bottom, don't drop it, and we're going to get down past all this fruit and take a gravity reading. That is very thick. It is already floating. So, like I said, this is very sugary. It is actually off the charts. My hydrometer does not read that much sugar. My hydrometer goes to 1.160, and 1.160 is like here on the hydrometer. So I'm going to say that's probably like a, I don't know, like a 1.175. I'm just going to guesstimate that.
Quick, before I get too much further into this, I do want to preface that this is 100% a guesstimation. It's probably not going to be too accurate, simply because I can't measure much further past 1.160. I can't measure any further than that. So our ABV reading is going to be slightly off. I just wanted to preface that just in case you guys did not understand.
Which is even higher than the blueberry pomegranate by about 23 points of gravity, which is obscene. The sugar content actually might be too high for this to adequately ferment. If you have an environment that has too much sugar, it won't ferment properly. So I'm going to go ahead and seal this up. We are going to, I'm going to add just a little bit more water now that bubbles have gone down. It's not going to make too big of a difference, but it could. So we're going to go ahead and seal this up. Put that in there so I'm not getting pineapple honey water everywhere. And we will do a blow-off tube real quick. I didn't show you in the last video. I just went ahead and did it. But for a blow-off tube, pretty much what we do is we're going to take our tubing. You're going to stick it down where you would stick the airlock. It might be easier to do it with the lid off. Stick that in there if it wants to go. And then it's right there. Go ahead and screw that on. And then I like using this cup because I can just stick the tubing down in the main drinking hole and it locks it in place. Come on, get in there. Don't make me a liar. I did this last time. Nope, there we go. And you're going to want to feed it all the way down into your liquid. Like I said, cheap alcohol, like a cheap vodka or something like that, or sanitizer water. It's this way. If anything does get down in there, like bugs or something, that's going to kill it, and it's not going to be able to crawl up the tube into our hard work. Now, we've got our gravity reading. I'm going to go ahead and clean up real quick, and do the numbers, and I will be back with what is absolutely a ABV that it will not reach, but we can be hopeful. So if you'll give me just a couple minutes, I'll be right back.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
And I'm back. Got my station cleaned up. I got this all done. And we did the math to figure out what our potential ABV is going to be. With a gravity reading of 1.175, if we go all the way dry down to 1.000 or below, which, while I have been wrong before, I don't think it's going to go that low, we would wind up with an ABV of 23.625%. That is obscene. Now, like I stated before, if this does ferment, it might be too much sugar for it to actually ferment, but we'll keep an eye on it to see. If this does ferment, initially I was planning on adding more pineapple juice. Now I'm not so sure. I think I want to bring that sweetness down just a little bit. So I might just go with water. I've got a couple weeks to think about it. I'll decide then, and we can definitely see once we crack it open to see what it is doing. So this is our pineapple jalapeno mead. I am super excited about this. We are going to see how this one turns out. If it doesn't ferment or something goes wrong, we will just start with another pineapple jalapeno mead, and I will definitely tone things back. I was not expecting that much sugar, but once again, I am a beginner. That's why you guys are joining me, is because you guys are on the same journey that I am. We're learning together. So we're going to fail, we're going to succeed, and we're going to learn from all of it. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I do appreciate it. Both my YouTube channel and my TikTok continue to grow every day, and I cannot tell you guys how much I appreciate that. I'm not going to get back into it like I did in the last video. I think that I've taken up enough of your guys' time. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Wilson. This is Bullet Sponge Brews, and this is our pineapple jalapeno mead. We'll see you next time. Have a good night, y'all.